All right, Sam Herrick, Executive Director of Far and Wise. Thank you for sitting down with me today.
Well, thanks for asking me.
Absolutely. So give me a background. So you are from the East Coast, if I have it right.
That's correct.
What's your journey to Sun Valley?
My journey to Sun Valley started from California, where I was working in schools as a school administrator for almost 20 years. And I had come to Sun Valley to visit. I had done research on the community school that I was familiar with as a school that I might want to consider working in the future. And that opportunity came up in the winter of 2014, and I was lucky enough to get that job as the middle school principal there. And so my family and I moved here from San Francisco, where we had been living, in the summer of 2014, and I was the middle school principal at Sun Valley Community School until June of 2022.
Okay. So did you have a tie to, had you been to Sun Valley before? Did you know the area?
Yeah, I did. My in-laws had lived here, and when we were in California looking at a potential job change, we were also pregnant with our second child, and the idea of raising children here in the Valley was inviting and intriguing for us. As much as we loved our time in San Francisco, having access to all things that this valley provides and having in-laws about less than a mile away was an appealing prospect.
Very appealing. Yeah, you got built-in babysitters, right?
That's correct.
Yeah. So you make the move in 2014. What's been your kind of give me a little bit of the experience, because yours is unique, right? You've been in the school, you were with community.
Mm-hmm.
Those that know this story, right? You had a little hiatus during COVID, got out of the country. But what's been your sort of like, what's been the experience coming from the Bay, being here and being tied to the school now Far and Wise? We'll get to the Far and Wise piece here in a minute. But what's been that lifestyle piece with the family that's been unique?
Yeah. So, living in a city it's a complex place, right? You have different people, different styles, different beliefs that all intersect on a regular basis. And a lot of that is on the surface. So you are confronted with that on a daily basis. And I wasn't sure what to expect moving to this valley as having a reputation as a resort town. I didn't really know a whole lot about it. Right?
Yeah.
My limited visitation beforehand were that of a tourist,
coming in and visiting and
enjoying
loving it.
Yeah, and loving it. Right?
Yeah.
And so, moving here, what has become really clear is how robust the sort of foundational community is in our valley.
Yeah.
Some people only visit Bellevue, some people only visit Sun Valley. But I think that the longer I've lived here, the more I've come to appreciate and rely upon the tight-knit concept of community that makes this valley thrive.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
From times of crisis when people surround you, to times of joy when people applaud you, to people working together to try to find a solution to a community need.
Mm-hmm.
It really has shown up a lot more in my time here.
Yeah.
And I love that. It makes me feel more proud of living here. It makes me more excited to do my part in the community.
Yeah.
And so that was, I wouldn't call that a surprise, but it was something that slowly emerged as I took the time to listen and to pay attention, to ask questions, and to volunteer to get involved.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's been a reoccurring theme, is that there's that, I think from an outsider's perspective, is obviously we're a tourist town and kind of a second home destination.
Yeah.
And obviously we've got a great local base, but the more involved you are in it, the more you really see how interconnected we are and the people that you want to be around.
I've talked to a number of people who are inside the Far and Wise community, and I ask similar questions. And I think people move here with a desire to get involved, a desire to have a meaningful impact on the community, and they are looking at all the nonprofits in this valley Far and Wise being one of many.
We have a lot.
We have a lot.
I think a lot of people don't. I think there's a lot of locals that might not realize that, but definitely from an outsider's perspective, we have a lot of nonprofits here.
Yeah, and they're doing
per
good
capita, probably one of the most robust.
It may be.
It may be. So, well, let's get to that. So you've got this history and education.
Mm-hmm.
You're leading the community school.
I was leading the middle school community school.
Middle school community school.
Yeah.
You take your hiatus. You take your family to Spain, if I'm not mistaken.
That was the start. Yeah.
That was the start. So you're gone for how long in that trip?
We were gone. We were out of Valley for just about 12 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that was a incredible experience for you and the kids. We don't need to dive in. That could be a rabbit hole story for another day. But you come home.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about this at the hockey rink, at the lacrosse field. You sort of have this interim period where you're back home, trying to figure out what's my next move? What am I going to do?
Yeah.
So walk me through how does Far and Wise show up in your world?
Yeah.
And I did a little bit of looking online today and just kind of getting a sense of what Far and Wise is. So walk me through how does that show up in your life, and then what is Far and Wise's impact in this community? What's the vision for this? Tell me that story.
Sure. Far and Wise was an organization that I was aware of, but I again, as you referenced, there's so many nonprofits that I really didn't know the details of the sort of impact. And I understand that the previous executive director, I learned that the previous executive director was planning to retire, and they were looking to replace that person. And it wasn't really on my radar until two people in the community who know me sent me emails and said, "Sam, this seems like a really good fit for you."
Yeah.
And the first one I was like, "I'm flattered, thanks, but I don't." I was actually working for a nonprofit at the time. I was working with Idaho Base Camp, another amazing nonprofit.
Yeah.
And
another hockey player.
And that's right, and another hockey player.
Yeah.
Which is actually how I came to join them. And then I got another email from someone else and said, something similar. You should take a look at this. And then actually my wife also said, you should take a look at this.
Yeah.
And I read the job description, and those people were right on. It felt like the right fit, the right match for combining my experience in education and sort of that time as a teacher administrator with sort of what I recognized as a need to support this sort of foundational demographic in our valley.
Okay.
Right. And I felt like, wow, that's exactly what I would love to be doing. It feels like a really good combination of both what I think is important and my work experience.
Yeah.
So,
is it safe to say that sort of is is that a fairly large transition from what you were doing with the community school, as far as just obviously through the education piece?
Yeah.
But it's a different demographic, and I don't want to say it's a different approach, but it's serving a much different sector of the community.
Yeah, in some ways it is serving a different sector, and that's great. I've always believed that we as sort of adults navigating careers don't have to stay in one lane the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to listen to what is drawing my attention, what feels like a need that maybe I could help fulfill. And for a while, that was my work at community school. And then now it's something different, and that feels great.
Yeah.
And I feel lucky that I have the options in our valley, that there were other opportunities for me to flex both something that was familiar, the school component of Far and Wise, with something that is new, which is a different demographic.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. It was sort of a mix of both what was familiar and what is new.
Yeah. So give me the background, because I'm not familiar with how did Far and Wise come to be, and what's sort of that origin story of your guys's your group.
So Far and Wise is a relatively new name for an organization that has existed here since 2013.
Okay.
So the organization started under the banner of I Have a Dream. And the I Have a Dream Foundation is a national foundation that has various chapters. And as I understand it, most of them are in urban settings. And the idea is to identify a demographic of students when they're in early to mid elementary school and say, these kids have more potential than is being tapped within the limited resources of the school system, or within the barriers of their lifestyle, whether it's financial or otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
And to say, we see potential in these children, and we believe that if we can remove some of those barriers, remove a financial barrier, a social barrier, a transportation barrier, a language barrier, we believe that we could help these children achieve much more in life. So the ultimate goal is to help usher as many of these children through to high school graduation as possible, and to beat the state and county graduation numbers.
Okay.
Right. Our first group that went through was founded in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
They graduated in 2022, 100% graduation rate. Like, amazing.
Very cool.
Right? A lot of committed time by caring adults, supporting, nurturing, pushing them to grow, and now they're off. Some are working, some are finishing school, some are starting school.
Yeah.
But the idea was to push as many of them across the finish line, which is 100%, and then fund them in post-secondary educational and career opportunities.
Okay.
So for those kids who went all the way through, we actually have a significant chunk of money that won't cover all of school, but for those that don't have other financial opportunities, this is a starting point for them.
Okay.
Right. So a number of years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, the organization decided to step away from the banner of I Have a Dream Foundation and carve out its own path under a new name, which became Far and Wise. By doing that, it allowed the organization to be a little more nimble in serving other needs in the Valley. Right? The national organization had a sort of very capable and committed plan, but our Valley is unique. We're not an urban setting. And I think what the board and the executive director realized was that due to the unique nature of our Valley and the complexity of wealth difference and transportation difference, and the list goes on.
Yeah.
That we needed a little more flexibility in being able to serve those needs that are different from downtown Chicago.
Sure.
Right. And so by doing that, we set off on a new path where we kind of shifted the model a little bit. And now the model is, instead of sort of recruiting a group of third graders, and then they start in fourth grade, and we follow that bubble all the way through the snake, get them to graduation, and then launch them into adulthood.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are actually building the snake every year. So in 2018, I can't remember the first year, now we add a new kindergarten cohort every year as the older kids age up.
Okay.
So
you're serving more people.
Yeah. So it used to be sort of one group of 45 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
And
now we're serving almost 300.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we're adding more every year.
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
Yeah.
And it's fun and it's challenging. We have our first group entering middle school, which is my my personal passion. I've working in middle school for almost 20 years.
Know that group. You know those challenges.
I do know them.
Yeah.
And I appreciate them for who they are in their sort of age and stage.
That's an awkward stage, to say the least.
It is. And I think they're actually undervalued. I think middle schoolers have so much to bring to this world if you see it through a middle schooler's lens. Do they have traits that aren't appealing to adults? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And yet, one of the joys of watching middle schoolers is they continue to surprise us.
Yeah.
And they have moments of demonstrating a level of maturity and competence that you didn't know was there. 5 minutes later, that may completely deteriorate, but they have these moments, and I love.
Well, there's a lot of adults that do that too. I mean,
that's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah.
So anyway, now we're moving into middle school.
Very cool. So the programs. I mean, it's growing. You guys are serving more in the community, which I think is really neat. What you've only been in the role for how long? I
started June 2nd.
June 2nd. So we're still, we've got the first 6 months coming up under our belt here.
Yeah.
What's been What's been unique or something that you didn't expect kind of stepping into the executive director role here?
Yeah. I think what I have come to, I wouldn't call it surprise, but maybe it was a reinforcement of what I said earlier, that the longer I've lived here, the more I see the interconnectedness between various sort of sub-demographics in the Valley. There's no sort of group that sort of stands alone. Everyone is actually very connected in ways that I didn't fully understand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm seeing that now. I think what I've come to appreciate about the students and families that we're serving at Far and Wise is that they are vital to our community. They appreciate the community. They work hard. They want the most for their children. And this community requires everyone to be involved. It can't just be one subset, one part of the demographic. It has to be everybody, because that's what makes it strong. That's what makes it function. That's what keeps systems going, from landscaping to schools to Starbucks, whoever. It requires everyone to play a role in supporting all of those entities.
Yeah. Now, as you kind of like project and maybe cast the next 1, 3, 5 years for Far and Wise, where do you see this going?
It's just being recorded.
This part is, yeah.
So I a couple different parts. Number one, with our after-school tutoring program that I was describing, we keep adding one cohort a year. So in 2032, we will have kindergarten. We'll have a cohort kindergarten through 12th grade, and then that fall will be our next group of kids we're going to fund as they step out into the adult world and head off to college or careers. Mm-hmm. So we know that's building at a sort of a steady pace. The other part of our program that we haven't talked about yet is our Center for Career Exploration. So this is really serving middle school and high school students in exploring different career options that they can learn about locally, apply locally, and have job opportunities locally, but also maybe take that opportunity and get a job anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world.
Okay.
And there's a huge demand nationally around skilled tradesmen, vocational work, and career paths that don't follow a sort of a traditional 4-year historic college path. And college is not getting any less expensive.
No.
So in the next 1, 3, and 5 years, I see expanding that program. We have a lot of partners that we're working with to give local teens, mostly high schoolers, opportunities to learn about various careers, to explore internships, to have to report to another adult outside of their family in a professional way, and get feedback on that. Like, these are life skills, right?
Oh yeah.
So absolutely. To me, I'm excited to see where that goes, and I see a huge opportunity. I'm hearing demand from parents and kids and even local corporations, companies saying, Sam, I would love to hire so-and-so, but I just need their skill set to be here instead of here. So, okay, how can we fill that skill gap?
Yeah, I think that's because it does seem like the schooling program is, we're going to get you to college and you got to get that 4-year degree.
Yep.
But obviously, I think there is, a huge demand for the trades, and it seems like that was lost. You talk to our parents,
right,
and they had mechanics shops in high school.
Vocational schools were explicit and designed very differently than a traditional school.
Yeah, and it was provided as an option. Right. And I think a lot of schools have gotten away from like that. Hey, that is an actual option. That is a high-paying job. Yeah. That is a worthwhile career that you can own your own business in a community that you love.
That's right.
So that's really exciting to hear that you guys are taking that approach. As well.
I mean, I think the demand for trades in our valley is only increasing, from plumbers, electricians, HVAC, refrigeration, nursing. I mean, the list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And those are critical resources to help our valley remain vibrant, functioning.
Absolutely.
So on, right?
Yeah.
And again, they're also transferable. So while we have a local focus, we know that a child completing a program or an internship or an apprenticeship program can then launch. If they need to move to Boston or wherever, they could probably get a job.
Yeah.
Right. That's exciting.
Well,
It feels like we're setting them up for success.
It carries on in the name of far and wise, and I don't know if it was intended that way, but
that's exactly where it comes from.
I think that's fantastic.
You made it full circle.
I made the connection. Yeah, maybe I could be one of your students.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe I'm there, just wise enough. Well, perfect. I think this is really exciting what you guys are doing and providing a huge impact on the Valley.
Yeah,
and I think it's just great that it's going to grow, and that new avenue that you just laid out is very neat. So is there anything we didn't talk about that we should have talked about?
I mean, there's plenty. I could talk all day about Far and Wise. The one part is sort of a combination of one of the questions you asked me about sort of what is emerging as something I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
The partnerships that we have are critical to our work, right? Like we partner very closely with Blaine County School District. The classroom we're in right now is used during the school day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after school, the Far and Wise teachers come and support the students in their after school program.
Because we are sitting in Hemingway right now.
We're currently at Hemingway Elementary.
Yeah. And this couch was donated by the Mr. Rogers set.
Right. So, like the partnerships I think are what are critical, and an emerging belief, idea, concept, need in my mind is it's actually the partnerships that are going to make this work that all the nonprofits are doing more sustainable.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to do as much as I can, or we as an organization are trying to do as much as we can, there's going to be a limit to our resources. But if we are willing to share as local nonprofits, if we have shared goals around student achievement, life trajectory changes, and sort of adult success,
mm-hmm.
we will be limiting that possibility by working in isolation of each other.
Yeah, saying,
right?
Hey, this is the niche we're trying to carve out. And,
yeah, right. So, we're working with, Idaho Base Camp, as I said, to sort of mutually move these kids forward with Blaine County School District to sort of share space and share resources. And the YMCA, like we're working together because I think we all believe that doing that has a greater potential outcome for these kids than trying to do it on our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, again, I think that's unique because we do have, again, we've talked on it. We've got incredible in a lot of the nonprofits. And I think there's, you and I both coach hockey. We talk teamwork, right? You can go fast alone, but you can go far as a team. So I think that's
apt.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Being able to bring that together and say, yeah, you guys do your thing, we do our, but in collaboration, look at the impact we can have that's even further than just me standing in isolation.
Yeah, and I would actually extend that analogy that on those hockey teams that we've coached, there are kids from a half a dozen schools.
Yeah.
Who don't spend all day together.
Yeah.
Right. But as a hockey entity, they are figuring out over the course of the season how to work together in that setting that is different from their own school setting or their home neighborhood setting.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And they figure it out, and that's great. And they develop relationships that start in hockey but expand outside. So when they see each other at the grocery store, they acknowledge each other and say hi or catch up or a high five.
Yeah.
It's great.
It just goes back to that community piece, right? Like us as adults have it.
Yeah.
Our kids are experiencing that, and there's that cross pollination from school to sports to extracurriculars, whatever it might be. That they're just it's fun to see the kids in the Valley go, oh yeah, I play soccer with him, and I play hockey with her, and they've just got this great little connection that I think is why we love what makes this place what it is.
Absolutely. I mean, yesterday I was with one of our 5th grade classes down at the Bellevue Elementary School, and it was pickup time. And I see this sort of young man walking up to pick up his younger sister, and it was one of my previous middle school students, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, your sister's in it. So we had this great moment. How's your life? How's your family?
Yeah.
Still playing soccer? I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
And then his sister came out and was looking like, how do you two know each other?
Yeah. You as the head of the middle school, right? Like, you were there for 6 years?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
A lot of kids. You've got kids now that are, in the
world.
world. Yeah.
Working.
Yeah. And coming home and.
Yeah. And I see them, and that's actually, it's funny you say that because I do love seeing my previous kids around town.
Mm-hmm.
They always walk up and say hi, no matter how I know them from hockey or
Yeah.
school. There's sort of this local familiarity, appreciation that now that they're adults, I'm not their principal.
Yeah.
They can see me in a different way.
Yeah.
Which I just love. And they do. They always walk up and say hi.
Well, you and I go to the same gym together, and I'll see you in there, and you're the younger kids in the summer who might be home for college or just return or whatever they're doing. But they're like,
you've seen them. They come up and
they come up
and both of us.
They
come up and check in.
And that's, I think, from a coaching standpoint, it is one of the most rewarding things is when you see a kid. It's like you've known them for 7 or 8 years, and you just see them grow. Yeah. And you have that connection to them outside of the whatever program it might be. Ours is particularly hockey. Yeah. But it's really neat to see them grow and just have that relationship with them. It's fun.
It is fun. Yeah. As a parent of 2 kids, one of which is currently in 8th grade, we recognize the uniqueness of our valley, where we give both of our kids a tremendous amount of freedom because you can do that here. Yeah. And do we check in multiple times a day? Absolutely. But I also know that if my child is doing something that is not appreciated by other adults in the valley,
you're gonna get called out.
They will let him know immediately. And then sometimes they'll let me know, hey, I had to check in with him about this. It's like, thanks for the heads up, right? Yeah. I love the fact that, other members of the community will, educate other kids who are not their own. Yeah.
And I think that can come off in a, before we sat down and I had that thought to myself, because Ketchum Alive, for instance, when our kids were younger, right? Yeah. Our kids, I've got freshmen and 7th grade, but when they were 4 or 5 years old and we're at Ketchum Alive, they're running around, and I don't ever have eyes on them at all times. Right. But I knew, like, oh, Sam's in the corner over there because you and I talked. Yeah. And I knew you would have absolutely kind of an eye on the kids as they're bouncing around and
if one of your kids hopped the fence,
yep. Like, hey,
I wouldn't look for you. Yeah. I would go
Westy, get back over here. Exactly. Come back inside the fold here, buddy.
That's it. Yeah. No need to reach out to you.
Yeah. And I think that's, again, that goes just back to that community piece where it's we've got each other's back. We're looking out for each other. Yeah. And that's what makes this place, I just think, so neat that's why I want to tell these stories, because that's what this is.
No, I'm glad you're doing this. I think that any way you can amplify the true nature of what it feels to immerse yourself in our community, and to listen and to pay attention, I think there's a much more complex and compelling story to tell than the just visiting town.
Yes. Yeah. And it was all born sort of, you read the newspaper, you read the comments in the Mountain Express. Town has changed, right? You've been here since 14. We're 16 years here. Town's changed. It's going to change. But you read some articles or you hear people talk and they're like, oh, the soul of this town is gone. And it's like, well, because a new building got built. Yeah. The buildings change, but at its core, the people haven't. And don't get me wrong, there's people that have come in, there's people that have gone out. But I think that thread that brought us all here is still there. And that's why I want to go back to this and say, hey, like, this is still a great place to be.
I agree.
It's got its challenges. Yeah. Everywhere does.
Absolutely. And everywhere's going to continue to change.
Yes.
The kids we're serving, like kids I was serving, kids I'm currently serving, like that's all going to evolve. Yeah. I would agree, though, that the element of sort of foundational community support is
that core is still here.
Absolutely.
I still feel that this is a place that, like you said, like if my kid's out and about, like I feel great that they're out and about, but I also feel great that like they know people that's sort of going to keep them in line to a degree. Yeah. And not
always going to go perfectly. Sometimes they'll come back and like, whoa. Yeah. That didn't go well for me. Yeah. Other times they won't tell me they had an interaction with an adult, all of which is a part of their development, but all of which is a part of keeping the community healthy. Yeah. I mean, it's ironic that when I came back into town after being out of town for a year, the one, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and how I wanted to apply myself. But Friday hockey skate. That group was the group that I really wanted to visit with again.
Yeah.
And that first time back in that locker room with guys that I never interacted with professionally, I only saw on the ice, was like my coming home.
Yeah.
And it was great to share
champagne
stories.
in the locker room.
Or, people giving me a hard time, which is the equivalent of locker room champagne.
That's love, right? That's
love.
Just love.
It was great,
Yeah.
and it was really good to sort of find out from people who are real estate folks and plumbers and masons and
all sorts.
It was great just to sort of catch up with the group that I had most connected with.
Yeah.
And people's groups are different. You
and
I happen to overlap there.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
Anyway,
for sure.
It was great.
So how do we connect with Far and Wise? What can we do? Where do we find you? What can we do if someone wants to participate and help out?
Yeah.
What can we do?
I'm glad you asked that. So we have our website, Far and Wise. So FARANDWISE. Farandwise.org is our website. And I encourage people and hope people will take a look at the site, learn more about it, look who's involved. We have an incredible board of trustees. We have an incredibly hardworking staff. Again, our partnerships are robust. People can get involved in a number of ways, from volunteering to attending an event, to making contributions, to getting curious. I just would love to tell a story anytime someone's willing to listen.
Awesome.
But that's probably a good way to start.
I think that's perfect. Well, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, likewise. Good to see you.
Love hearing your story.
Thanks.
And I think you're doing great things with Far and Wise.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.